Okay, so I've had a couple of people ask me for like how I got interested in the Marine Corps, and I've had people ask me about my childhood and talking about my childhood. And people have also asked me about EMDR. So I feel like I'm just going to use this as a time to kind of intertwine all these stories, because I don't think you can tell the story without all this context. Personally, I love context. That's just who I am as a human. So again, a big sociology person, so I feel like I can't explain and tell a story without the like socioeconomic and race and gender and crime and mental health. Like, I can't tell the story without all that context. So in order to kind of start this, we have to go back to 2008. In 2008, my family and county, like billions of people, were affected by the 2008 recession. The market crashed. Gas was, well, cheaper than it is now, but at that point it had skyrocketed up to like $3.69. At this time, where my mom's second husband, you will never hear me refer to that man as my stepdad. Fuck that dude. But my mom's second husband lost his job at Pfizer, which is like the pharmacy company. They had a plant in Terre Haute, Indiana that got shut down, and so many people lost their jobs when that plant went down. But that wasn't the only plant that went down. There was like a couple other plants that went down in the Terre Haute area, and it caused a major surge of unemployment. But then also all those like little tiny jobs that people are grabbing at just to stay above water until they can get a new job are gone, because there's so many people now that are unemployed. Mom becomes the sole income provider for our household for almost a year. And she was a teacher, and then she quit teaching to go back to this printing company, which was what her college degree was in. And she was like basically the manager there. She wasn't the owner, but she was like second in charge there, and she did really well there. But that wasn't enough to support a family of 4, and then like my stepbrother every other weekend. I will refer to his son as my stepbrother because I have no beef with my stepbrother. Devin, I love you. My mom also ended up taking on coaching jobs because that was like an extra couple $1,000s, you know. But basically, my mom, and if you know my mom and you know me and my family personally, please don't let what I'm about to say change your opinion of my mom, because I'm not on here to shit talk my mom. Because I want to be clear, even though my mom and I did not have a good relationship growing up, and I do carry a lot of trauma from the things that she did, said, or allowed to be said and done to me, she, ever since she has married John, I call him my dad. He's my stepdad, but I will always refer to him as dad. Once she met my dad, and my dad was a fucking man, okay? My dad is a man's man, a protector, a provider, even a nurturer. That man is heaven sent. But once John got with my mom and took my mom out of survival mode and showed her what a marriage and a man and a father was supposed to be, my mom has spent every waking moment since then trying to make up for what she did and did not do for me growing up. Did to me and did not do for me growing up. And she is a fantastic grandmother to Matthew and McConley and my 3 bonus children. So again, we're not giving my mom flack on this page because it was her first time living too. And even though it did have a profound effect on me and where I have ended up in life, she's taken accountability. She's apologized. She's acknowledged she could and should have done better. And she actively does better every day now. So, but obviously being the sole income provider as the woman in the house during a recession was incredibly stressful on my mother. And she didn't have time for that nurturing shit. Okay. My mom was gone for work when I woke up in the morning, and I didn't see her until, 5-6 p.m. because she was at work trying to make ends meet for our family. And, the whole time she's got her second husband just sitting at home, yelling at everybody, drinking, treating everybody like shit. Like, I think she also got like super depressed And my house was just a terrible fucking place to live and be. And I knew that as soon as I graduated high school, I was fucking out of there. And so come 2015, my senior year of high school, my school provided this link where you could apply to hundreds of scholarships. And, you had to answer questions, do some essays, whatever. But then it auto-filtered your info into a database that matched you with scholarships you were eligible for and fed you into it was like a whole thing. So I actually became a finalist for the Lilly Foundation Scholarship, something like that, which was a scholarship that if you won, you had a full ride free 4 years of education as long as you went to a college in the state of Indiana. I was so excited to hear this because at this point, obviously, I had started looking at colleges. And I had a couple of D3 basketball offers, but D3 went out the window for me like immediately because they don't pay you, they don't take care of anything. You are a student athlete with no perks and benefits of being a student athlete. And on top of that, I was broke and poor as fuck. So how am I going to pay for all, I can't even have a job because I'd be playing basketball. So D3, didn't even consider it. Not even, I did get a D2 offer finally. And I did look into that school. I made a campus visit to that school. And then I knew 2 girls who played from my county that went on to play D1 who were willing to work with me to get me to walk-on level at a couple of local colleges that were D1. But basically I started doing campus visits and I started looking at tuition, and my D2 scholarship would have been paid room and board, books, and meals. But everything else would have been my responsibility. And it was like $40,000, which I know now is probably a fucking steal. But in 2015, $40,000 a year, like I did not want to stay in generational poverty. Like I couldn't do it. I did not. And then when it came to the D1 thing, it's like, yeah, I could walk on. But then if I made it, like I'm not going to get any of the benefits until that next year if I made the roster. So I'm sitting in my room bawling my eyes out because I want to be a lawyer so bad, but there's just no way for me to become a lawyer without being hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. And I just don't know what to do. At school, I was playing basketball at lunch, and it was mostly, there was a couple of us girls that would like play against the guys, but we were playing and whatnot. The bell rings, we get done, and I walk out into the hallway and there's a Marine Corps recruiter. And he's like, hey, like, have you ever thought about joining the Marine Corps? And I'm looking at him like, bitch. I was like, no, thanks. And I completely brushed this dude off. Fast forward like a month or two, and this announcement comes over the intercom that if you want to take the ASVAB, you basically get 4 hours off. You can't get marked tardy. It's like excused. You don't have to make up the work for it. If it's a test, you don't have to make up the test for it because it's the ASVAB. And I was like, bet, like, where do I sign, I had no idea what the fucking ASVAB was. I just took that shit because I got out of the first 4 hours of class. So like an idiot, I take it and I hurry up through it, and so that way I can fucking sleep for the next 2 hours. But I end up scoring an 89 on the ASVAB and 114 GT score. So of course, the Marine Corps recruiting station contacts me and asks me to come in and talk to them. And since they gave me free 4 hours out of my day, I decide to give them some of my time as a thank you.